Ooh. La 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 la. Oh, do do do. Hey, how you doing, gang? This is your Sensei Al Bob, your griot of the Dreamy Dreamland channel. A Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. And I'm at my IHOP office and checking in with you. Um, and I was gonna. It's a beautiful day, and I was doing cleaning. Cleaning up. The whole thing about every time I leave the deep green, the the raccoons come and party since till it's 1999, and you know, my question. So every time I come back, it's like, and they don't eat anything. They don't, just really, they don't even destroy things. They just spread it all over the place and then roll around in it and then dance. You can see the little dance paws on things. And then the rain gets to it, and we've had loads of rain, right? And so, anyway, I'm not telling as many stories because my story personality kind of is more a nighttime thing. And then, you know, the only time I can get online is if I come to IHOP or that restaurant or this restaurant, and that's a daytime thing. And I'm out in the middle of the public, so I have to be careful about what I'm saying because I can't cite them too much, otherwise they complain, and then they tell the manager. The manager tells me not to come back, and I only have so many places I get a hold of you guys. Anyway, so until some of you show up, I will call you in prayer. Remember to breathe. Okay, sweetie. Okay, sweetie. I should be in the deep green. I'm there by 4 p.m. Today, I don't have to go see the doctor at 5, but later in the week, that'd be great. And I'm just cleaning up the joint, um, fending my castle from the attack of the what are those raccoons? The raccoon apocalypse. I saw you called, but I was talking to somebody who was down in the dumps. So I look forward to seeing you. Friday I'll be there. Um, Thursday, Wednesday I'm going to. Um, Wednesday I'm heading to Johnson City. So I'll talk to you later. Bye, Betty. Anybody there yet? Nope, nope. 4 minutes and no one's there. Miles Davis, my man. My man Miles. Miles for Smiles. Ba, ba. No one there yet? Oh. The thing is, you can meditate and still do stuff. Ba, ba, ba. Oh. Come on. Sophia, where are you, girl? It's happy hour someplace in the world. Well, it's 7:34, and everything seems to work. So I'll stick out till 10:10, and then I'll say, I'll see you later, and I'll come back. I have to stick around here until later this afternoon. I'm going to doctor's appointment. So if I'll try back at 2:30. Okay. Do. Oh, there's somebody. Hey, been waiting for you. Who's there? What do you want to talk about? I've been writing a new novel. It's called Cover Page. I say, Uncle Bugnuts, just me. So, Bugs, where are you? You in the States? You in another country? Where you at? Canada? Where you at? Since it's just us, tell me a little bit more about you. You know, I know that you had hard times. I know that you don't really trust anybody. I know you give yourself a hard time, you know. So, what do you think when we go? You know, what's interesting in the evening, because that's usually a good time to do the live chat and do the meditation at all. And so, what do you experience when we meditate? Well, making pizza is an honorable thing. You know, it's like better than being a Catholic priest, better than a surgeon. You know. So, do you make your own? Are you working? There's a place in Johnson City. The guy is from Italy, and he spent a good 30 years in New York City and Queens making pizza. Then he came here, right? He makes his own dough, he makes his own sauce, Really good pizza. Um, Remember, Uncle, I have more than 600 shows up on my Dreamy Dreamland channel. And go back to any one of those live chats where we did a guided meditation, and there's some that are very powerful. I mean, they're all very powerful. But just, out of the 600, I would say 100 or more. Because that's kind of like a roulette wheel. Flip through the channels, and when you see it, come see if you can find a guided meditation and take part of it. So where are you right now? No, here's stretch. Because I used to do projects for Carnegie Mellon, and they're the big robot folk on the planet. And one of my lab rats, he went on and worked at Google and Facebook, and Sperry ran, and he started his own company, and he's making robots to do food service stuff, right? And he's making a kiosk for McDonald's and Burger King, and he's made a pizza machine for Papa John's that makes a better pizza than a human being can, right? And it makes everything. It makes the dough, it makes the sauce, it makes everything. Nothing comes in a can or a bag. The robot makes everything. And when he told me about this, I said, he goes, "Don't you want to come to one of the shows in Las Vegas? I'll take you to Las Vegas." And I said, this is when I was, not feeling too well. I said, well, next year, yes, next winter, I'll go to Las Vegas with you. And so, but he was like going on about that next 3 years, basically 60% of most labor, factory, anything that's repetitive will be replaced, right? And he said the people who are really going to get replaced are doctors and lawyers. I didn't bring my other pair of glasses with me, so I can barely. I have to almost meditate to see. Hand straight is the old style. But let's see, bottom mass. So, what city, town, village, country, planet are you, Uncle? Mm-hmm. Now, young kids need to learn how to think for themselves. Right? Young kids need to, what you're doing. They're not going to replace you, hand stretched pizza boy, right? And if you got yourself a little truck and put a pizza oven in it, you'd make a lot of money. And put a bed at the top ring. Get yourself like a bread truck. About 15, 20 feet long. About 10 feet high, 8 feet high, however high those things are. Those aluminum boxes, and you know, put the pizza oven, and so you can little space to get to the driver's seat, and put your bed above the pizza oven so you can always be warm up there. Because once you heat up that oven, anyway, probably one of the most lucrative things I ever did was I had this girlfriend who was a total wax job for the Grateful Dead. She's one of those girls who wore long granny dresses and danced barefoot. You know, her feet were like concrete. And she loved me. And she had this rock. She was a great mechanic. And I was a pretty good cook, pretty good chef. And very treated her nice. She liked that. Her daddy didn't treat her very nice. Her boyfriends never treated her very nice because she was smarter than they were. They were jealous. I've always had smart girlfriends. Makes life a lot easier. Anyway. The other thing I learned in that foyer with that sweetie was not only how to make pizzas and other truck food, but we kind of stuck along the coast. She liked the ocean, and we used to make. I made a trade. It was like sending the kid with the cow, and we had all of this cheese. And I traded, and we were going to take a trip, and our refrigerator wasn't working, and so I knew the cheese wasn't going to last. So I made a trade of tons of cheese for blocks of, wax, candle wax and wicks. And we went, what did you do that for? I mean, a lot of wax. And we stopped off at Kitty Hawk. And this is back in the day when you could camp on the beach. And I just make designs in the sand, heated up the paraffin with, I had a solar oven and like a parabolic mirror with a lens, and melted the because I made the parabolic lens out of cardboard and aluminum foil and little chunks. I had a mirrored ball that kind of defragged itself, and it just had the little chunks of mirror. So I kind of melted that wax up really good and cooked. You weren't allowed. You could camp on the beach, but you couldn't have fires. I had no reason to understand why. And one night, the sand was of a certain consistency. I couldn't sometimes try to take candles out of the sand. So I just set all the candles, so they were all kind of together, and instead of having a fire, I had a bunch of candles, and the top saw the light and came over and said, candles. There's nothing in the book that says you can't have a candle. I said, that's right. Upset. I said, I'm going to clean it up, no problem. So he came over, and then he goes, you guys have a real nice spot here. Ooh, food smells good. My radio doesn't work here. I said, oh, that's good. He goes, let me tell you something. I opened up this trunk, and it was full of marijuana. And he said, a couple of these bales kind of washed up on the coast, and want some? And I said, is this a trick? He said, no. I said, okay, sure. So he kind of broke a bale in half and said, here. And he would come. We were there for almost a week, making tie-dye shirts That's another thing I learned how to do. Cat ass shirts and sand candles. He'd come and we'd feed him. We'd smoke it up. He had his own favorite bong. He brought other cops, right? And he had the whole flavor of them. He had a state trooper buddy. He was a forest ranger. He was a ranger boy, actual forest guy, and a few others. This 1970. It's before I went to New Mexico, so 1970, I guess. The summer of, and so I met her when I was at Duke, and when I was at being a photographer for the High Point Enterprise. She's definitely a North Carolina girl. Smart though. And she had been at Chapel Hill, and she said it was too preppy for her. And I met her. How I met her was at Joe College Weekend. I put on this thing called Joe College Weekend, where we got Chapel Hill and Duke together, and we had a big blowout for spring. And I had my Grateful Dead buddies who were producers. They brought Grateful Dead, Santana, well, Seven Starship. They were on tour together, or kind of together. We were right in the middle of them going from here to here. And we had a long weekend. They were going to be doing a big Coliseum show, and they're building a stage in some place in Georgia. And so they kind of stayed. And we put them up in a really, this fraternity, really nice fraternity, Southern House, put them in there. And most of those guys had left. And it was just off the hook, right? And somebody brought like a fire truck full of LSD and hosed everyone down. And go look that up. The first Joe College Weekend, the cops were so, and I knew a lot of them, were so like, this is off the hook. They just left. Make sure nobody goes. And we had almost 40,000 people there. And I'll just make sure no one dies. We're leaving. We can't put up with this. So go Google that one. College Weekend. Joe College Spring Break. In the early 70s at Duke and Chapel Hill. Let's see. So Uncle Pugnuts didn't leave yet. Let's see. 90. Young kids should take course in how to. Not really. There's all this music that's like in the public domain. And when I'm playing it on my phone, one song, 4 commercials. When I'm at the library, it plays the whole thing. Ba, 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 ba. No. Young kids should start having a life. Get off their phone, get off their tablet, start a business, have a nightclub, have a restaurant, have a, sell, I don't know how many businesses I've had over the years. And they all worked out great. Made more. And when we used to do Dead shows, we'd make $5-6 grand for 3 days. Kids would show up, maybe a day or two before. They'd have the trading circle and the drum circle. And that was part of the show, And there'd be a few guys like us, trucks, food trucks, and vendors. Circus showed up, we didn't have to pay anybody, And the promoters, basically got, where they would rent the stadium. I said, okay, so you're not using this for this whole week. We're going to set up our thing. We're going to have this a little tribe there, and it'll facilitate our people having something to eat and place, something to do, and it'll bring people your way. It'll be good for your community, and it was. And after those guys did one of those things, I realized just the vibe of that brought them way more money than the stupid place just staying empty. And the police in those towns were like, realized that if that was going on, all the weird people would go over there so they could keep an eye on them instead of them being spread out all the place, and they would mellow out, so they'd leave them alone. So their crime rate would go down. And then those people would buy stuff at the stores, at the general store, at the hardware store, at the clothes store, at the Goodwill, this is before Walmart's, but Kmart's and Sears. And that's how it works. The we and me. When we all do well, you do well. And whatever obstacles you have, it's the opportunity for you to do better. Why am I doing this? Because I know, yes, there's only 4 of you watching, but it inspires me, because I find you doing better. So that inspires me. Makes me happy, Anyway. Anybody got any questions? There's 4 of you there. And, the last person to talk was Night and Tea about 15 minutes ago, half the time that we've been on air. But now there's 5 of you. So tell me your stories. That would make the chat even more interesting. You tell me a story, Have any of you been to the Floyd Fest in Floyd, Virginia, up in the mountains on the Blue Ridge Parkway? I was their electrician for the first, their electrician, minister of fun, and, Griot Sensei Albab. I had my mystery tent. And I took pictures for Chris and his lovely wife. I was their historian, right? And the 4th year, they got big enough where they needed a committee of all the loser people, what I call the trustafarians in Floyd. Those are rich kids, kids who were preppies and then yuppies and then zippies and then X's and then, trustafarians, meaning daddy gave them a trust and they never had to work a day in their life, Let's see. Oh, there's Janie. Is that Janie? That's Jane. Making lunchtime special and yeah, bam 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 bam. Listening to Miles Davis. Yep. So Jane, when do you come to visit? Zesty Infinity. They are not that advanced. Of course you're advanced. So my new novel is about back in the day when I had my old girl Bella and her son Homer, and we were looking up at the stars, and things have really changed. That was probably 8 years ago, 6, maybe. I mean, time flies. Maybe 10 years ago. Homer was a couple of years old, and the stars were kicking bright. Last night I was sitting out there in the deep green, and it's been raining for the last few weeks here. and so everything was soggy, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and there was a film, like from ground to a couple hundred feet. It wasn't fog; it was just a film, right? And you could see stars, but not like you used to. Hopefully, things dry out and I can see stars. But anyway, we it's the same stupid.
Would you like a refill?
Of this, sure. Here,
Alright.
let's see what's in here. Ba, ba, ba. Uh-oh.
Would you like more cream?
Oh, sure.
Alright.
Yep, yep. Give me another bucket full. Ba, ba, ba. Oh, there we are. And my other glasses. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, boy, those are dirty. Must have squirrels living in my pockets. A dreamy dream about. Well, come and stay, girl. Let's hit the road. Let's have some fun. I mean, the deep green is great, and I'm writing my new novel about my evolution, where my dogs and I became one consciousness. Do 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 do. Boo boo. Thank you, princess.
I brought you another cup of ice.
Oh, you're the best.
In your refrigerator. You want?
So let's see your palm.
Huh?
Your palm. The one you write with. Put it up like that. Let's see. A little passive aggressive. You get that from your daddy.
Actually, no, my mom.
Your mom? Okay. Well, it's usually one or the other. Amounts of prosperity are really great. You just get in your own way.
Yeah, that didn't sound good.
Yeah, just stop that. Right? Let's see the back of your hand. You got a lot of common sense. Your best attribute is you're not lazy. You jump on it immediately. You get the job done. Your one little tussle is self-loathing and worrying too much.
I am
And
a worrier.
yep, stop it. There is nothing good for that. It's not even.
It's always about my family. I'm always worried about it.
No, forget them. They gotta take care of themselves. You can be sweet to them. You can be
I
nice.
disagree. There comes a point in your life when you gotta take care of your parents. Yeah.
Your parents? Well, up to a certain point, I took care of my parents. I had nothing to do with my family for 35 years.
Yeah.
And all my brothers and sisters were part of the family business. And they all hated each other and they hated my parents. And I was the only one who got along with everyone because I had nothing to do with them.
Yeah, it's always necessary. Drama.
So I had nothing to do with them. So I came back from Europe when Ronald Reagan got elected. And
Oh, you lived in Europe?
oh, yeah, for a long time. I lived everywhere. I lived in Asia. I lived in South Africa. I lived in North Africa. What for?
Yeah.
Well, I was a scholar. I was paid to go look at things that no one knew anything about.
Where'd you go to school?
Where didn't I go to school? I went to Cornell. I went to Duke. I went to Chapel Hill. I went to Oxford. I went to Trinity in Dublin. I went to University of America in.
That's a lot of debt.
No. They paid me to go to school.
Oh, they gave you a
They
full rate?
paid me. Yeah, more than a full break.
Was it like a work study type thing?
No.
What was your GPA in high school?
Oh, that's hard to say because I went to a prep school that the richest people on the planet went to. And so they didn't really give you grades. It was like,
kind of paid them. They're like, hold on.
I didn't pay them anything. I had a godfather who was a cardinal. and I was supposed to be a rocket scientist for the Pope. So I was sent to that school.
She also gives me out to see.
Yep, yep. Well, she wasn't interested. She had to. She kept looking at her screen. Ba 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 ba. She thinks that it's all about that and that degrees. It's about having a life. It's about living. It's about serving love's co-creation. It's about making other people happy. You got to take care. No, the only reason you take care of your family is because you got, nothing else to do. And you want at least somebody to care about you. So you take care of them. And that's the worst thing you can have in a family is a transactional relationship. Boo, 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 boo. Ba, 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 ba. I have a friend who is fastidious about keeping his glasses clean. Ba, ba, ba. So, Janie, how long would it take you to drive up here? And what are you doing that's keeping you from coming up here? Throw that dog of yours in the car. Just take a garbage bag and take your favorite clothes. One nice sweater, one good jacket, a rain poncho or umbrella, a few shorts, t-shirts, a couple of shoes that are good to walk in, a couple of bathing suits. That's all you need. I hate this. Every commercial. They advertise people's suffering, right? St. Jude's is so capitalized, they don't have to have commercials. But hey, they're debt, they're tax-free. Oh, there was a commercial about shaving's a rite of passage, The first time I tried to shave, I was with my daddy, and I'm the only one who ever went on business trips with my father, except my brother when he, became part of the business. But, back in the day when my daddy was in the Air Force, hey, you want to go to Edwards and see the, fastest airplane in the world? Yeah. I sat in the cockpit of the SR-71 in 1960. I watched a thermonuclear air blast out there in the test site of Nevada when I was 6. I was looking at the bones in my hands through welding goggles. Maybe that's why I'm a little strange. But anyway, when my dad went on a trip to Chicago when he was a paper salesman, we stayed in the best hotel. We went to shows. And then he said, just stay in the room. He did, he had a friend. Anyway, and I watched TV and got room service, right? And I stayed in the room because big, gigantic room. I could order anything I wanted. I was kind of tired from walking around Chicago. But one of those mornings, my dad's in the bathroom. He had all his shaving gear laid out. And I lathered myself up and I started, shaving myself. And my father, what are you doing in there? I went like this. And I slit my lip. And I was wearing, the big fancy hotel. We had these terry cloth bathrobes. And, I was like, came out and boy, this bathrobe, heavier and heavier. And I opened the door and my father looked at me and he fainted. And then I fainted on top of him. And then luckily the maid showed up and we were both in a pool of blood. And that's the third time that happened to me, not with the razor blade, but I did that. I cut my hand once on a steel stud. I was up on a ladder. I was looking for an electric box in a hung ceiling, and someone just took a reciprocating saw and cut a steel stud wall off and left the jaggedy shit up there. And, and it was like a razor blade. Bling! And all this blood rolled down my arm and dripped on my helper, who was one of those guys who saw a drop of blood. He fainted. And I heard a thud. And I looked down, and he was in a pool of blood. And I luckily got off the ladder, bent over, looked at him, and fainted on top of him. And my boss came in, Gus Baer, in Ithaca, New York, Baer Electric. And he said, boy, it looked just like Romeo and Juliet. They were on top of each other in a gigantic pool of blood. I mean, that was, and then when I got shot, same thing happened. So 3 times, I'm not going to die in a pool of blood, obviously. Anyway. I don't know anymore. So someone come and get me. I mean, I'm enjoying it. And the first 4 days was raining. Now it's doing a nice thing. This is a rainforest, so you can expect that. But the last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, here it is Monday, it rained at night and sunny during the day. And that's perfect. I can live with that. Well, things still stay a little soggy, but that's okay. The fire department was selling firecrackers, so I bought a bag of rockets. And I like those rockets. Rockets, I can see why Werner liked ICBMs. And I can see why the Ayatollah likes, Anyway, and I have to hand it to Donnie Blunt, for not starting World War III. That was a good thing, And Donnie, I keep telling people that Donnie is the best thing since sliced bread, because he is as truthful as George Carlin, but not as funny. And he is putting right in front of us, right in front of us, what our political system is. Go read Paul Street, and while watching Donald Trump, and go read Howard Zinn. And that's, kids, I keep talking about this window of opportunity. And, come on, let's have some fun. Jen, come on, come and get me. Let's drive all over the East Coast. I know, we'll go up to New York, we'll go to Boston, we'll go to Canada, we'll go all over the place, and we'll go in those cities and try and spark it up. Bring your dogs, what's your dog's name? Sparky, the super dog. Can your dog fly? Anyway. It's gums. They haven't healed up all the way, but they're getting there. 0 to infinity. I know more can. Oh, dogs that can fly? Oh, that's a good thing. It's the pigs. Now, I've heard pigs talk. I used to live in front of a abattoir where they slaughtered cows. And the cows would just kind of walk off the truck. And they had this, it looked like a feedlot. The cows had been eaten for the last 6 months. They could barely walk. And they walked over there. And as soon as they put their head into the feed bin, it would break a light beam of a photocell, and a new, electromagnetic magnet would drive a stainless steel rod through their brain, and they would fall over dead. That's how they killed the cows. And the cows would walk up the truck, and they would be right, there'd be like 20, 30 cows in the truck, and they kind of, stumble off the truck and walk towards this. There's like one thing, and they just wait in line to put their head in that thing and get they would see that the cow would get the rod through the brain, fall over, and a big, gigantic forklift would come and just skewer the cow, pick it up, and guts and everything gooling out, and bring it in to the factory to throw on the assembly line to get chopped up. And the next cow would just zing, you know. And I used to wait. The road, I was in a place called Germantown, Pennsylvania, just outside of PA. And I was working in PA, and the girl I was living with lived in Germantown. And I would walk down the road, and there was a guy who was a guy who sprayed poisons to kill insects. He would pick me up, meaning I would get down there by 9, and he would pick me up somewhere between 9 and 9:15. Right? I would get there 5 minutes before 9 just to make sure. And he'd pick me up every morning. And I'd have a thermos of coffee, and he'd have his mug. And my sweetie made these great cinnamon buns, big, gigantic cinnamon buns. And, and that was another business. She made the best. She was a good German baker girl, and she made the best strudel and the best cinnamon buns. And I said, so I was working on a job where they ripped out these electric ovens, industrial ones that had racks. Can I have that? Sure. I had the guy with the insect truck that said, hey, this morning, can we go over and pick something up? He said, sure. So we picked the thing up. Can it stay in your truck till you get me in? Yeah. And I stuck that in there. I had to put a new electric service because it had like an old farm 110 service. I put in a 220 service straight to that oven. And she made racks and racks and racks. Cinnamon buns, strudel, Kuchen, all kinds of good stuff. And I went and sold it, it cost her about 20 cents a thing to make. And the cinnamon buns I sold for $1.50. The strudel I sold for $5. The Kuchen I sold for $5. Every day I stopped. I got that, made enough money to the guy who was the insect guy. He was going to buy a new truck. I said, "Will you find a good truck for me?" And he got us a bread truck, right? And we just filled it up every day. I made about $1,100 a day. I could all she really needed was a little, and she'd be happy, And for me to read her poetry at night, that's all she liked, a little, and reading her poetry. That was it, And helping her, meaning I got all I did all the footwork. I did all and she was a great bookkeeper. She kept all the books, and I did all the stuff she didn't like doing, and kept her happy. And we had a nice little thing, but the living that close to the abattoir was. I said, "Babe, we got to move." But I can't move. My mom. She was another girl who stayed in that. I mean, if we'd gone to Philly, I said, Philly is 30 miles away. I got to take care of Mama. She was like the girl there. For the same reasons. I said, baby, you don't need your mama. I love you. Come on, let's we'll go have a good time. And not really. Let's see, coffee. Yep, I got 2 kinds of coffee. I got iced coffee and hot coffee. Yeah. That's what my mama did. She used to drink hot coffee and iced coffee. And people, why do you drink? She goes, well, sometimes I like hot coffee, and sometimes and why she did a hot coffee was she would make herself an Irish coffee, and she would first pour in whiskey and inhale it, not drink it, just inhale it, and then she put in the Baileys. Then she would, once that stopped being hot, she would pour that over ice. Heaven on earth, right? My mama loved her cigarettes and booze. It didn't seem to stop her from living. She lived to 103. And when I came back from Ireland in 1980, I took care of my folks, but not like that girl and my German girlfriend. No. I said, yeah, all my siblings worked in the family business, and they hate your guts and they hate each other. But I had nothing to do with you guys, so I love you all. So I'll take care of you. But you got to be your better self, not your jerky self. Your better self. And when you're a better self, I hang with you because you're cool, you're fun, I like it. But when you're an asshole, I'm not going to be there. Now my mom was never an asshole. What my mom was a Silence of the Lambs. She was Hannibal Lecter. You didn't want to piss my mom off where she'd fucking kill you. Fracking kill you. Oh, yeah. Anything tasty. I like anything tasty. Yep. Longevity gene. Yeah, I got them both. My dad died at 98. His mom died at 100. And my grandpa, he was, he smoked about 6 packs of cigarettes. He was a barber surgeon, so he was always on his feet, and he was always smoking a cigarette. And he keeled over at 58. And he'd done everything he really wanted to do, and he knew that he just wanted to have a vacation. As long as he was in his body, he was not going to have a vacation. So he got my grandma a nice, insurance policy, and died. He took the, oh, you're in pretty good shape. Sure. Right, about 3 months after he got that, $200,000 thing, which is like $4 million today, he died in the saddle. Anyway. Yep, the longevity gene. I mean, look at me. I'm pushing 70. I don't look a day over 100. Oh, baby. But anyway, that's about 1 something here. Another 2 or 3 hours, and I'll be off to my appointment. What else can I say? Well, I think I'm going to call it quits at an hour. It's now at 53 minutes and 53 seconds. So I'll wait till an hour. I'll wait till 1. So let's meditate a little. See, I'm in state right now. That's all it takes. Yep. In my higher self, I'm sharing my consciousness with Bella, my old girl, and Homie, my son. That's when I'm my better self. And then Love's co-creation welcomes us home. And there we are. So I'm sending this out to you guys. Right? Sending it out to you. So Sophia, you can send the hidden hand, I can sit across from Captain, what's her name? My XO, as she offers me the deal. Hidden hand, you need me, boys. You need to you're at a loss to rebrand. You think you're smart? No. Whoops. There's a leaf up there before it falls on my head and kills me. Nice painting, nice painting. It's like a piece of concrete up there. Anyway, I like the way that it not. I have a friend of mine who was OCD. He would have to have it just right. Anyway. Bah, bah, bah. $56 and 20 seconds. Hey, time goes slow when you meditate. I'm still in state. I can chew. I can gum. Almost swallow that. Not good to swallow your pancakes. Breathe through the nose. Out through the mouth. And Grandma liked living by herself. My grandma had treated my father and his two brothers. By the time they were out of diapers, they were on their own. And that's the way you should treat your kids. Just keep them away from the chainsaws. And my dad did the same thing kind of with me. And Grandma lived to be 100 when I was in Maryland, in College Park, organizing against the Vietnam War. And they had a big party for her. And I called her up before she went to the party. She said, well, Grandma can't make it. She was like, okay, I'll see you soon. Well, okay. I gave her my address. And said, okay, again. Yeah, we'll talk I'm going to take a road trip. You always tell me about your road trips. I'm taking a road trip. Oh, that's great, Grandma. Anyway, they went to a big fancy dinner at this restaurant my dad liked to take people to. He belonged to the yacht club. They didn't have a yacht. Had a pool so we'd go swimming. And a really nice dining room. So he could.
So good?
Oh, always good.
All right.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yes.
Question. Is there a, what do you call it, a SunTrust Bank around here?
I don't think so.
No.
Mm-mm. I can go look on my phone real quick and see.
Oh, I'd like that.
Yeah, because I don't know for sure. I don't think there is, but
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay. Anyway, so they had a big party at the yacht club, and they had a big queen. So that big king chair I was at the restaurant a couple of shows back. They had a big, so they finished dinner and having dessert and had a big cake for her birthday cake and with 100 on it, 100 candles. And she looked at him and said, hey, I'm not blowing those out. I don't want to, didn't even get the kind of cake I like. So anyway, and so she, I said, Grandma, give a speech. So she got up and she goes, I really don't like any of you. Some of you I like, most of you are not here. I'm taking a road trip. And then I'm going to come home and die. And she did. She bought herself a Greyhound pass and she spent 6 months traveling around. And, that was Grandma. Died the night she came home. Anyway, 59 and 59. I can't tell you the whole story of Grandma and her road trip, but I will. Her and Mrs. Fez, 1 hour, 10 seconds, 11, 13, 14. I'm going to wait till a minute from now. Come on, Jane. Come and visit. I'm waiting. I'm going to be around till mid-July. Then I'm heading back to Roanoke, Virginia, and I have a few medical things I have to take care of. And then you can come here now. We can spend a week or two here at the Deep Green. Then we can go up to the school and you can have a great time in Roanoke. Roanoke's a great town, and I know a lot of people. And I got a bunch of things bubbling there. And I have a friend of mine who's running for office that she needs to win. And if she does what I tell her, she'll win. But she's like, oh, they told me I could do blah blah. Anyway, that's why I kind of came on to you, because she was like crying on my shoulder. Anyway, so I'm gonna go. I love you guys. Maybe I'll be back 2:30, 3 o'clock. But I want to feel like writing more on my novel. Okay? So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.